All right, to wrap up our coverage of the Event Dispatcher in Drupal, the Symfony Event Dispatcher in the Drupal 8 context, let's actually create our own event. This will take us full circle and we'll have full control over working with events. So in order to register an event, it really needs two parts, and we've been working with the second part in its entirety already. That's the part where we register for an event to have something triggered when the event happens. The first part, though, is actually triggering that event. So what we've covered so far is how to register subscribers to the event dispatcher so that when an event happens, we trigger a particular action. What we haven't covered, though, is how to actually trigger an event, how to create our own event. We did that in the Symfony videos, but let's see how we're going to do that in Drupal. Now in Drupal, we have hooks already, right? So in Drupal 7, if you wanted to open up some part of your application to an API, you wanted to allow other modules to adjust some kind of logic inside of your module, you would have done so by registering a hook. You would have used something like module invoke all, which would go and look across all of the different modules to see if any of them implemented a particular hook. And the hook was just a function that had the name of the module and the name of the hook after that, right? It was a magically named function. And in Drupal 8, we still have those, and you can still register hooks. But alongside that, we now have this event dispatcher. And the advantage of creating your events inside of the event dispatcher instead of hooks is that you can create all of your code in an object-oriented way. You don't require people to create any procedural code. What that means ultimately is that any code that taps into that event can be properly tested because it's all encapsulated in objects. It can also take advantage of other cool object-oriented stuff like inheritance, so you can draw from behaviors or structures from other parts of the code too, which if we're just creating magical function names for hooks, we're not going to get that at all. As I mentioned before, there's some discussion to moving entirely to the event dispatching system in Drupal 9 and not having hooks at all. So this is probably the path of the future. And if you're writing a module from scratch now, you might consider going this route to open up your module to adjustment by other modules or custom code.